Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for July the 10th. I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy, and then I'm going to be pulling one card for each sign, and we'll be taking a look at how each of those cards interacts with each other. For those of you who know your sun sign, you can get a decent tidbit of information. For those of you who know your house placements, you can actually find a whole lot of information about what's going to be going on today from a quick little reading like this. Now for overall energy, what we have showing up is the Nine of Wands. This just tells me that we are getting ready for something. We're preparing for something. Maybe we're getting ready to go on vacation. Maybe we're getting ready to make a presentation at work. Maybe we're getting ready to have a big conversation. Lots of different ways that can manifest, and it'll probably be manifesting in different ways for every sign, and maybe even for different ways for people in each sign. But getting ready for something is our overall energy and theme here for the day. Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da. And by the way, when we have an overall energy like that, this can be something that's actually happening with us directly, or we could find ourselves holding space for somebody who is going through this overall energy more directly as well. Now, let's take a peek at Aries. Aries, Knight of Cups. This tells me that you are getting ready to take some kind of action that is sweet. So it could be some type of romantic action. It could be some type of pampering action with somebody who is or is not a romantic partner. This could even be that you're preparing to do something for yourself that seems a little bit luxurious and pampered. So really nice energy there. We like it. And then let's look at Taurus, Ace of Pentacles. So with the Ace of Pentacles coming up here, this talks about the idea that we're preparing to receive some type of new opportunity. And that's, one of the manifestation master's tricks is whenever we want an opportunity to come in, we start preparing for that opportunity. I used to know somebody who did landscaping as a living, and whenever work got tight and there wasn't a lot going on, he would start cleaning up his tools and reorganizing his truck and making sure that everything was ship shape so that whenever he got the call to come out and work a job, everything would be ready to rock and roll and go. That was part of his way of preparing for an opportunity. So for Taurus, I see you guys preparing, getting ready to receive some type of opportunity today. It's not an arrogant thing. It's just a thing about knowing how to create things, how to work with the energy instead of working against the energy. All right, next up, let's look at Gemini. So Gemini, Nine of Wands in the overall plus the Page of Wands. This just tells me that you are, with this overall, getting prepared for something because you are anticipating somebody giving you a message that says, okay, yeah, we're on board with that plan, let's go with it. This could have to do with traveling because we've got the two wands, both the overall and the sign energy. So it could have to do with traveling. It could also have to do with really any kind of inspired, creative, outside the box type of thing. So it could have to do with music, could have to do with traveling, could have to do with sculpting, painting, anything creative like that, something that makes you feel excited and passionate. Could even have to do with, the steamier side of the romance coin. But you're preparing to hear some good news about being able to move forward with something that you have a lot of enthusiasm for. Next up, we're looking at Cancer. Nine of Cups showing up in reverse for those of you with Cancer in your charts, along with the Nine of Wands. Look at that, two nines. Almost at the end of a cycle, getting ready for the end of a cycle. With those two nines. That's really a reinforced idea there. So Nine of Wands talks about preparing for something, getting ready for something. Nine of Cups in reverse talks about this idea of being unsatisfied or unfulfilled, feeling like there has to be something out there that would make you feel like you were making more of a contribution to the world. something that would make you feel more satisfied, more happy, more fulfilled. And so with this Nine of Wands, I think that you're getting ready to find whatever that is that makes you feel more fulfilled. I think you're feeling really restless right here. You really want to mash the gas into something that makes you feel like you're doing something significant, something that makes a difference. And so you're getting ready to take that leap into the next level of something that is going on in your life. Now, who was that? That was Cancer. Okay. Next up, we're going to look at Leo. Leo. Empress showing up in reverse. Woo. For those of you who have Leo placements. So Empress showing up in reverse along with the Nine of Wands, right side up. Nine of Wands is just saying you're getting ready for something, you're preparing for something. Empress in reverse is basically saying that you're preparing for the worst. I hope you're expecting the best, because you're certainly preparing for the worst. With that Empress in reverse, we're really focused on those things that we're afraid of, that we have anxiety about, that we don't want in our experience. And it looks like, for those of you who are Leo, you're preparing for the worst to happen. I mean, you're focused on it to the point you're literally making preparations for what you don't want to happen. So be careful about that. Be careful about your focus. Sometimes there are things that we have to do, but other times we really can focus on other things instead. So be careful about where your focus is. Be careful about what you're drawing into yourself, okay? Be careful about, what are you preparing for? Next up, let's look at Virgo. Queen of Swords in reverse. Well, that's a strong card, Virgos. With this overall energy of the Nine of Wands, you're preparing to cut somebody off, cut somebody out. This is cutting communication. I can't say that. What spirit just nudged into my head? I apologize. But the Queen of Swords in reverse just talks about cutting communication with somebody and cutting it in a very complete way. So if you have to co-parent with this person, or if you have to work with this person, yes, you're still going to talk to them about those things you absolutely have to talk about with them. But if you don't have responsibilities that you have to handle with this person, there will be no more communication allowed, because you're going to be cutting that communication off. There will be no Facebook stalking. There will be no sending messages through Instagram. There will be no phone calls. There will be no voicemails. There will be no messages through friends. Done, 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 done. Okay? So you are preparing to cut somebody off. That's what we have showing up here. That's Virgo. Next up, let's look at Libra. So Libras, you guys have the Hermit showing up in your energy for your sign, the Hermit in reverse, I should say, and the Nine of Wands showing up in the collective energy. So Libra, this really tells me that today you're spending some time by yourself, thinking things over, resetting priorities, getting to know yourself better, figuring out what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, which enables you to set those priorities in a way that makes sense for you. So that's what you're doing today. What you're getting ready to do as you're doing that is you're getting ready to come back out and interact with people in the world with that new set of priorities going forward. I think you're waiting to come out to interact with the world until you know you've got all your ducks in the row about what your plans are, and then you're going to make yourself available to communicate with other people. Not until then. Right now, the focus is on those preparations, getting ready. All right, so Scorpio. Knight of Swords showing up for Scorpio along with the Nine of Wands. So Scorpio, with these two cards, I'm going to say that what we're doing today is we are making preparations for some type of communication. We could be preparing to teach a class. We could be preparing to have a difficult discussion. We could be preparing really for any type of communication. Maybe we're preparing for a presentation in the boardroom. but we are definitely putting our ducks in a row and getting ready to send out this communication that shows up. So we're preparing. We may not be communicating just today, but we are definitely getting ready for it today. All right. So that was Scorpio. Let's look at Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, we have the Fool showing up in reverse. And that's a little cut off, isn't it? Sorry about that. So the Fool in reverse with the overall energy of the Nine of Wands. So here's what's going on. With that Fool in reverse, Sagittarius, I think that there's something that you began in the past as a leap of faith. As of today, I think you're reconsidering if you want to continue on with this leap of faith. Is it productive? Is it getting you what you had hoped? Does it have any good stuff left in it or not? Or has it served its purpose? Is it time to shut it down? Okay, so that's what you're considering. Now, with this card coming in reverse, what that tells me is you will end up keeping on with this after you have reconsidered it. You're going to decide that there's enough good stuff coming out of this leap of faith that you started in the past that you're not gonna call it down and close the case on it. You're going to keep moving forward. And then with the Nine of Wands showing up in the collective energy, I think that you are preparing in whatever way you need to prepare to keep moving forward with this. Maybe you need to restock and get some new supplies. Maybe you started a whole painting hobby / career, and now you're realizing, you know what, this is turning out okay. So now you're getting more supplies and you're getting ready to take it further, taking it to the next level. But there's some preparation that's going into that. That's not just an automatic thing after you reconsider. Next up is Capricorn. So Capricorn, Queen of Wands showing up in reverse. This is interesting. So here's the deal, Capricorns. I don't think this Queen of Wands in reverse is you. I think with this overall energy of the Nine of Wands, I think you are getting prepared to interact with somebody who has Queen of Wands type's personality. This is somebody who normally is a very good problem solver. They may know a lot about how to manipulate energy, especially if they're, not super young. They may have discovered a lot about energy already. There's somebody who thinks outside the box. They don't let the world tell them how they should live their lives. And I think that you're expecting that this person is kind of not going to know what to do with you. That's your perception. You don't think they're going to know what to do with you whenever you talk to them. And so with this Nine of Wands, you're preparing yourself mentally and emotionally for this idea that this person that you're going to be interacting with may or may not know what to do about you or what not to do, or may not know what to do with you. You're getting prepared for that idea. Okay, so that's Capricorn. Next up, let's look at Aquarius. So Aquarius, we have the Justice card showing up in reverse for you. And then we also have, of course, the collective energy of the Nine of Wands. This is really interesting what's coming in here. Okay, so I've got a couple of different reads that are coming in here. So we're going to just hit them both because I know some of you, one way it's going to apply and some of you it's going to be the other. So can't really leave either of these out. For some of you, you are getting ready for some type of situation where somebody is making a judgment about you or about some type of behavior that you participated in or that you allegedly even participated in. Somebody is getting ready to make a decision about you. You're preparing for the idea that that decision may not be made in a fair way and the outcome may not be a fair outcome. And so you're getting prepared mentally and emotionally that this may not go exactly the way that you want it to. Now, please be very clear here in your understanding. I'm not saying that it won't go the way that you want it to or the way that you think it should or in a fair way, but I'm saying you're preparing yourself in case it doesn't. Okay. from these two cards, I can't tell which way it's really going to go. I can just see that you're preparing for in case it doesn't go well. Now, the other interpretation that's coming through for some others of you is that you want to be really careful because you're being called upon to make a judgment call about somebody and their potential behavior or alleged behavior. Okay? And so as you're preparing to make that judgment call, problem is with this card in reverse, you may be looking at the situation with a very specific perspective or agenda. You don't even have to be doing that intentionally. But let's say that, for example, you have to make some kind of judgment call between two people and figure out who actually is telling the truth and who is not. And let's say that one of those people always seems to be very upstanding and always seems to be, doing the right thing and, is just very people pleaser. And so they're always doing exactly what everybody wants them to do. And the other one is a little bit more of a wild card. They kind of do, whatever seems right to them at the time. And they may take risks that are sometimes unnecessary, but they do it with good intentions. They just usually doesn't necessarily end happy for everybody involved. Let's say that way. Okay? And so let's say that because you have this set thoughts about how these two people operate, if the one that is always doing what everybody else thinks that they should do says something, it's going to be really easy for them to take them at their word. When the other one that's a little bit more of a wild card says something, you may or may not want to believe them. You may question their integrity. So it's really important to be sure that you're gathering all the evidence that you need to if you find yourself in a situation that seems pretty cut and dried, but there's no evidence. You want to make sure you're getting the evidence that you need to. Otherwise, you could find out later on that you made a decision, but it was not actually a correct decision. It was really a corrupt decision that was made based on faulty information. And I know that you don't want to do that. I know that you guys are truth seekers, that you would like to think that you make decisions that are based on the truth and fairness. So look for the evidence. Don't just assume that everything is following the same pattern that you would expect it to. Definitely be looking for the evidence today, because the temptation is going to be not to look at any evidence and just go with what seems like a hands-down solution. You may be surprised later on if you do that. Okay, so who is that? That was Aquarius. Next up, let's look at Pisces. Pisces, moon card showing up in reverse. I think this is a beautiful card, whether it's in reverse or not. I mean, it's just beautiful aesthetically to look at. So with the moon card showing up in reverse, Pisces, this is kind of some big energy, is what I feel like. That Nine of Wands in the collective, I think that you are getting ready to bring some kind of truth to the surface that other people may not be aware of. You're preparing to bring that truth to the surface. And it may not be very easy for them to hear it, for them to see it. I think that's part of why you're preparing. You're making sure you've got your ducks in a row. You're making sure you've got your evidence to show them. You're making sure that whenever you bring this truth to the surface, this is not going to be something that is debatable. You don't want it to be a debatable truth. You want it so that when you bring it to the surface, people understand that you're not just making this stuff up. It's the real deal. Okay, so that's what I have for everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Looking forward to working with some of you personally later on today. And the rest of you, I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.